Here's how to limit the risk of your Etsy shop getting suspended in 2025. My name is Lucretia, and I have an Etsy mentorship program with over 150 members. Luckily, no one has reported being suspended so far, but these are the 5 most common reasons that I see shops getting suspended. And this applies to new Etsy shops and established shops that can get suspended. So these are going to be the 5 things you want to make sure that you are doing to make sure that your Etsy shop does not get suspended. And reason number 1 and number 5 are the most common reasons I see shops getting suspended. So make sure you watch those thoroughly. The first reason I see Etsy shops getting suspended is because of intellectual property violations, or that just means they are listing products that have copyrights. So these are products like Paw Patrol birthday invitations, or this could be, and that's usually the niche that I see this intellectual property or copyright issues come into play, is things with like birthday invitations. I seen someone had like a Bluey themed homeschool morning routine or a homeschool menu. So Bluey would be a copyright. Paw Patrol, anything Taylor Swift. I see that a lot with like the print on demand. They'll make like Taylor Swift shirts or sweaters, all of that. Anything that is like you see on TV or like lyrics, song lyrics, all of those are copyrighted. You are at an increased risk of getting your shop suspended when you list copyrighted materials. So I'm going to hop over to Etsy and I'm going to show you some examples because it's super easy to find copyrighted things. People list them all the time. So here I am on Etsy and I have typed in birthday invitation because like I said, this is one of the most common niches where I see people listing copyrighted products. So I'm just going to scroll down here and see how quickly we can see a copyrighted product. And here we go. Bluey. This is copyrighted. Probably, what is it? Disney, maybe? I think it comes, or Nickelodeon. Maybe it comes on Nick Jr. So this is copyrighted. So this shop can get suspended. They're at a high risk of getting suspended, and they're probably not going to know. Etsy doesn't really tell you why they suspend you. They just shut down your shop. So this is going to be why, though, because they are listing copyrighted products. Let's see if we can find any more. Here we go again. Bluey, Frozen, copyrighted. So this again, all of these shops are at increased risk of getting shut down. You can't list these products. Someone else owns this product. So this is kind of like someone taking a picture of your child and making money off of your child's image, and you don't get anything. So that's like what a copyright is like this. These are people's creations, and someone is taking their creation and making money and keeping it all for themselves and not sharing it with the person or the company that created this product. And so that is a copyright. So you want to make sure that you are not listing copyrighted products in your Etsy shop, or you are at a very, very high risk of getting your shop suspended. And the way that I would avoid this copyright issue is if it's something that is very popular, so something like Bluey, Pokemon, Frozen, if they're very popular, like characters or song lyrics, actors, actresses, like things like that, musicians, just stay away from it because it's most likely copyrighted. So like a unicorn, that's just a general character, like not owned by anyone, or a unicorn, I mean a mermaid, like this, a bow, like super simple, and that's a bestseller, popular now. A bear, so just keep your products simple. This is creative, like bruh, you in these style Capricorn season. So things like that are you're going to have less likelihood of a chance of using copyrighted products. But if it's something super popular, like Bluey and Frozen, things like that, then there's high chances that it's copyrighted. I would just stay away from it. The second reason I see Etsy shops getting suspended is because they are listing misleading listings. So they have misleading products, search phrases that have low competition, but they don't relate to your product. So your tags and your product title, they have to relate to your product. You can't just be adding in random tags that have a high search volume and low competition just to boost your views to your product. So that is misleading. So you don't want to be misleading your customers. You don't want to be having a Notion template as a tag and your product is a digital planner. So you want to make sure that your tags and your product title are talking about exactly what your product is so that you are not misleading the customers. Reason number 3 that I see Etsy shops getting suspended is because they are listing prohibited items. So Etsy does have a list of prohibited items that I'm going to share with you that are not allowed to be sold on the Etsy platform. So I'm going to share my screen again, and we're going to go over the list of items that you are not allowed to sell on Etsy. So these are Etsy's prohibited items policy. And if you scroll down here, they're going to tell you the following types of items are prohibited or restricted on Etsy, which means you cannot sell them on Etsy. So things like this, the alcohol, drug paraphernalia, animal products, human body parts, it's pretty pretty self-explanatory. But like this one, nudity, sexual content, Etsy has stopped allowing more frivolous items to be sold. So like for love coupons, if they are more, risque, Etsy might remove that listing, let you know that you need to take that listing down. So you want to make sure if you do more of an adult niche, if you have more of adult related products, that you are being very mindful that it's not crossing the line here with the sexual content. So you want to make sure you're paying attention to that, being mindful that your product isn't too risque to be on Etsy. And then if you scroll down, it's going to go over more details and give you some examples. So examples of what is allowed. And so they're going to let you know what items are allowed, what go into further detail about what they mean, just so you're clear about if you can list this item or not in your Etsy shop. So these are the prohibited items. I'll scroll back up. And just so you can see them, there they are. So all of these are the prohibited items that you cannot list on Etsy. The fourth reason that I see Etsy shops getting suspended is because they are manipulating their reviews or manipulating the feedback that they're receiving on their shop. And so this is something that is called shilling, and Etsy is against shilling. So this means like if you have your friend buy your product and leave you a positive review. This is like if you tell someone, hey, I'm going to give you 90% off your next order if you leave me a 5-star review. So you don't want to be manipulating the review someone's going to leave you. I do see shops where they're like, hey, I'm going to give you something for free in exchange for your feedback. So they're not telling you to leave, a 5-star review. They're not telling you what type of feedback to leave. Let me share with you the Etsy policy where they are talking about shilling. Okay, so this is the Etsy policies where they're talking about shilling, and they let you know what it is. So if you have a friend or family member purchase an item and leave a biased, inauthentic, or untruthful positive review, your friends and family can buy your product, but we don't want you saying, hey, buy my product and leave me a 5-star review. That goes against their policies. Compensate someone through free or reduced items to purchase to leave a biased review. So see this one here. So again, it seems like you can compensate someone. So you can offer them, give them 50% off their next purchase, but you can't tell them to leave a positive review. And so to me, it seems like it's okay to be like, hey, you can get this free planner if you leave me a review. Leave me your honest review. So it seems like that is okay to give them an incentive to leave reviews. You just can't manipulate the review that they're going to leave. And then the third one is if you open up additional accounts and you start leaving reviews on your products for your other shop. So you can't leave your own reviews using other Etsy shops that you've created. So that one makes sense. But again, they go into more detail between family and friends. So the sole purpose of the transaction may not be to leave a review. So compensated for the review. So again, like just making sure that they are leaving their honest feedback. So making sure the review reflects honest, unbiased opinion. So again, your friends and family can buy your products. They can leave you a review. You just can't manipulate them into leaving you a 5-star review. Like it has to be their honest feedback. So that is this policy here. This is another reason your shop could get suspended if Etsy finds out that you are doing any of these things, which, friends and family, they can't, they don't really know that. But like if you are compensating people and Etsy finds out, you're telling them, hey, if you leave me a 5-star review, I'm going to give you something for free. So you can't do that. If you're opening multiple Etsy accounts and leaving your own reviews and Etsy finds that out, again, your shop will be suspended. So try to avoid manipulating people's reviews of your products to boost your views and sales. And the fifth very common reason I see for shop suspensions is verification problems. So simple fix. And that's why I see most people get their shops back. It was just an issue where Etsy was trying to verify their identity. Etsy trying to keep the platform safe for not only like their sellers and their customers. They're trying to keep the platform safe. They don't want a lot of scammers on the platform, which makes sense. And so they need to be able to verify your identity. And sometimes they will just suspend your shop and you can submit an appeal and you can get it back. And they were just like, sorry, we just need it to verify your identity. And so you want to make sure that you don't have an invalid bank account. So make sure that you put in your banking information properly, or that can be a red flag to Etsy where your shop gets shut down because your banking information was inaccurate. You want to make sure that you have all of your tax documents that Etsy needs in your documents. So Etsy, I know I have a pop-up on my Etsy shop right now that is asking me if I need to update any of my tax information. So make sure you go in and do that. If Etsy is telling you that they need something from you, make sure you handle that immediately to avoid your shop getting suspended. Make sure that if you have any outstanding fees, that you go ahead and pay those like as soon as you can, just so it doesn't look like, you're just trying to avoid paying the Etsy fees. Suspension doesn't mean that you will never get your shop back. So there are times when your shop gets permanently suspended, and there are times when the Etsy suspends your shop, but you can request an appeal. And then once they look further into it, which is what I see most of the time, they give you your shop back. So just because your shop gets suspended, that doesn't mean it's permanently closed down. You can request an appeal, and Etsy will tell you if your shop is permanently suspended or not. So now let's talk about what to do if your Etsy shop does get suspended. So you want to make sure you contact Etsy support. They will give you a little button there, something where you can request an appeal, or an email address where you can go to request an appeal. And then you want to submit your support ticket. And you want to tell Etsy, the situation, what's going on. Like, hey, I went to log into my Etsy shop. It says that it's suspended. I just want to know what's going on, if there's anything that you guys need from me to submit so that I can get my shop back up and running. So be very, very kind about it. Like, don't don't be rude requesting your shop back. So, and then usually what I've seen is that they respond pretty quickly and give you a reason as to what's going on, or it could be an automated response. Most of the time I see people getting automated responses. Then they just go and look at their shop, usually within 48 hours, or like it could be up to 14 days is what I've seen. Some people have 14 days, but they just log into their shop and it's all back up and running. So they had no idea, like Etsy didn't tell them that their shop was back up. They didn't tell them why it was suspended. They just log in one day, it's suspended. A couple days later, they log in and their shop is back up and running. And so that's typically Etsy was just that person must have got caught in the spam filter that Etsy has like recently implemented to keep all the spam off of their platform. So sometimes people who aren't scammers do get caught up in that, unfortunately. But what I've seen most of the time, people get their shop back. So those are the 5 most common reasons that I see people getting their Etsy shop suspended. Although I do see most of the people get their shop back within 48 hours to like 14 days. And so if you do get your shop suspended, make sure you request an appeal, and Etsy will let you know if your shop is permanently suspended or not. Just keep creating products. So just in case your shop does get unsuspended, then you will have a lot of products that you can just go ahead and list in your shop. So it wouldn't be time wasted. So if you found this information helpful, make sure you subscribe to the channel so I can keep you up to date on the Etsy strategies that you need to know about. And make sure you watch this video next, where I share with you the 5 money-making tasks that you need to focus on so that you can make money in your shop, even if you have less than an hour a day to work on your Etsy shop. So I'll talk to you soon.